What's going on, Mr. Black? Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
You can hear me? I don't know.
Yeah,
Say something.
I can hear you good.
Yeah, I can't hear you. I gotta figure it out.
Can you hear me?
Why?
Can you hear me?
Reggie,
Can you hear me?
can you hear? Because I can't hear
Can
you.
you hear me? I can. Hold up. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hey, say something now.
Can you? Harvey, can
Can you
you
hear
hear
me?
me? I can hear you. Can you hear me? You hear me now? Now I can't hear you. Now I can't hear you. You on mute?
All right, now you can hear me now. You can hear me now.
Yeah, definitely can
All
hear you
right, bet.
now.
Hold on, wait one more second. I want to see if I can plug the mic back up. I gotta figure this out, man. I'm troubleshooting today. All right,
Yeah.
what about now?
I mean, I had
What
my
about now?
mic in too, so you can hear me.
Hear me now?
Hold on, let me see something.
Hear me now?
Can you hear
Reggie,
me?
you can't hear me now, man. You can't hear me now? Okay, I ain't gonna use.
Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? You on mute? You on mute? You're on mute. You're on mute.
Oh, I hear
Yeah,
you.
now I can hear
I'm
you.
not on mute now.
Can you hear me? Can you hear
Okay.
me now?
Yeah, I
Okay.
can hear you fine. We're gonna run like this. What's going on, man?
Nothing much, man. Out here in the field, about to pick up a few things, and then we're going over to New Jersey and O Street later on to do the same thing, pass out them hygienic supplies and give people information, try to get them set up for this hearing we got later in October.
Okay. Tell me
You
this
know,
right here, man. I will. How we gonna link up with them people on that the people that with the footage you sent me? Where they at? And what water they?
so so a lot of the so that was just sort of a loose organization of people who um kind of like are consolidating on the same issue, and that is our unhoused families. And we're talking about, for the most part, young single female heads of households who are having issues with the system and accessing housing. So the main subject is like one of the people in that space, one of the main folks, and then you had two ANC commissioners and the Black Lives Matter DC chapter folks from that. So for the most part, they're from Ward 7 and 8. Um, you know, but I believe they've had the experience of homelessness here
Yeah,
in the city.
but I don't think we see you ain't seeing exactly how I'm seeing it because I'm saying these are the people we need to train to our power analysis. Like we get together with
Yes,
them, then we tell them about making the virus our V2VR and they support that. You see what I'm saying? That's
that's
our
right. That's right.
we got to tie that together. So I mean, you the point person on that. If you know, because on the YouTube thing, they don't have a link so you can reach out to them. But she does drop her
Yeah.
email on there. So if you know a contact, man, we need to talk.
I mean, we kind of know the same. We kind of know the same organization that, in a lot of ways, is working with the main subject of that video and other folks that you saw in there. So there are avenues of connection, but I think we need to be a little more proactive in connecting the dots, especially with folks like the dude Hawthorne and Miss Whitland, who was in the video, who are
Yeah,
ANC
definitely.
commissioners. and they
Okay.
have programs and buildings and stuff going on in what is called their SMD, or single member district. For the most part, I think those are the most important parties we want to get engaged, because other advocates and stuff that they're working with, they would learn about that type of stuff just as they would. Like if we
Right.
put something out to them, those folks would be the people they would invite. Hey, you know,
Yeah, that's what I'm
come
saying.
have this conversation. You know,
Right.
so it's about connecting the dots and making sure that everybody that's working on this thing with housing, man, get on a unified front to be
Yeah.
addressing what's going on in our community. Like we can't, like with this virus and everything going on, we can't keep being siloed. We can't keep being singles versus families. You know what I'm saying? Men versus women. Young against old. No, no, we all are facing housing instability. We've all been out there living in tents and living in shelters in this city. And we need to have a unified front and push. And I think that the vacant virus reduction plan is one of those things that could be that unifying force. Because in our data, not only do we see studios in 1 to 2 bedrooms, we know about some buildings that are 3 bedrooms. Those are the types of units we need to be going after, what I'm saying, far as families are concerned. And then another thing we need to really be solid about is all of our belief in public housing. We need to get them, sort of, you know, ally with us on having truly affordable housing, which one of those forms is public housing. I don't know, do we need to recall it something? Do we need to go with that whole crazy
Yeah.
social housing term?
We need
I
to
don't
change
know,
the
but
we need to change the
but
term.
we need, yeah, we definitely need to change the paradigm on, what they want to call affordable housing. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like
You know,
they we need to change that, because that term has been so co-opted. I'm down here off of Florida Avenue, and I think this is N or Second Street, something like that, or First Street or something like that. I think it's N Street,
Reg,
something like that. I'm
Reg,
down here by the ATF, and
I got
behind
it
me
though.
you can see the
Listen, I got
elevation.
it. Listen, the power is flowing right now. I feel it. This is what we're supposed to start using. This is terminology. We're supposed to start saying American housing, and even more specific, district housing. District
Uh-huh.
housing meaning everybody in the district deserve housing. So this
That's
is
right.
it's the terminology. American housing. How can he be he American person? Ain't
You
he?
see that
How they gonna
you
think
see
this?
that building behind me? You see that
Yeah,
building behind me?
I
You know
see
what I'm
it.
saying? These are the types of things that we need to be looking at. Because in that building, our research says there's 3 units over there. Got
3 vacant
another
units
one,
during the pandemic.
you know what I'm saying? Then you got another one going up over here. Look at this. Look at that. What the hell is that? That's about to be, I guess, another apartment building. Look at that. Look at Union Square. Look at Union Market. Look at all that they building over there. Look at all that they building. Really? And then you got all them people that's just around the corner right here, living on the street like that. That's crazy. That's why I said, vacant the virus is that unified front that we need to approach all of our housing issues. And I like that. District housing. This is housing that provides for all District of Columbia residents. You know what I'm saying? Whether you're a native, whether you just move here, if you qualify for housing assistance, you should get a district unit. I'm coining terms as we go. I'm coining terms as we go. Because I like that
Yes,
concept.
sir. Yes,
You
sir.
know what I
Yes, sir.
mean?
See, but
And
let me
that's a,
explain to you. That's operating on the power seat. One thing that I took away from the video that you sent was the fact that they were still saying we're trying to understand. But when you're in the power seat, you said, "This is what I want you to do." Yeah, I don't need to understand what you're doing. I need you to do what I'm telling you to do. And so that's what we got to do. Because it's a pandemic out here.
They're the same. They're the same as me, right? I'm on a board. They're a commissioner. We're basically quasi government. Not only is our role and responsibility to represent the community, but we are supposed to be that accountability mechanism on the different agencies. And do you see sometimes how folks can be combative to people that you're supposed to be basically government with? You know, and that was disturbing to me to hear two commissioners got to fish for all kinds of information from district agencies. You know, y'all the first level of government, you know, in the neighborhood. So them agencies are beholden to you, and when they act, and when you as a commissioner ask for information, they supposed to get that up. Ain't supposed to be no
Right.
pushback. Ain't supposed to be no, oh, I got to go to
I
this
agree.
agency. I got to go to this and that agency to get back to you 3, 4, 5 months, you know, after the issue then got worse. No,
I didn't like how they kept trying to
no.
redirect the conversation, talking about we need to talk about this and we're gonna talk about this department. It don't, it's the whole system, it's both departments. So why are you trying to diverge about which one we need to talk about first, whether it's DCH or the other one? Understand? I didn't
Yeah,
like that part, how they were
it was.
trying to narrate the conversation.
Yeah, I saw that. I heard that. You know, you had three agencies there: the DC Housing Authority, the Department of Human Services, and the Department of General Services. So the Department of General Services is supposed to keep up maintenance of any district property, right? And then the Housing Authority is supposed to help people, you know, access housing assistance. And then DHS is supposed to help people meet their humanly needs. And the excuse that they give is that there are three different agencies. But I was sitting there watching it like, hold on, I'm the unifying force between all y'all for the most part, because y'all sit on the ICH, and I don't think those commissioners and stuff know that.
But they also got to understand they're supposed to service the community. Period. So it's not who's responsible for doing what, is get the job done. If the other side is not doing it, then send a
I'm in those
memo up on the
conversations.
same page.
I'm in those conversations. You know, I'm in those conversations. So it's beholden upon us to do what we need to do. Hold on a minute. I gotta see your friend real quick.
Okay, okay, I'll take your time. Time. I'm gonna step away from the camera for a minute. Oh shit. I gotta put on a mask and go out there and let go. 789, 789. I can really, y'all like, so there's no vote. There's no vote there. And I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure it is somebody is out on the ballot also. Right. Because I mean, oh, trying to go from this. Well, I'm saying, I was thinking, going to look like they're like the boy is the player, right? And it's just all bright, you know, kind of like a solid color, or a solid color, right? And like it's just so fast popping up like they're like white, you know what I mean? Like a star, it's a hard white outline of that whole. And you see, so many that's what I don't use. I was like, I'm doing it. So now, I figured it out for me, man. Yeah, there it is. I got you.
The part two. Part two.
Reggie,
Yep.
I'm back,
Just
man.
had a quick little run. Just had a quick little run, man. You know,
Yeah.
and that goes. And what I was just doing just now sort of furthers that point. You know what I'm saying? Because I was saying I was down here, there like in Noma. You know what I'm saying? So we have a partnership called the Unhoused Collective, where a group of us, including folks from Ward 6 Mutual Aid, National Conference of Black Lawyers, we got representatives from Global Diaspora United, we got the Legal Clinic, we got I was saying Surrey City, Ward 6 Mutual Aid. We got the National Coalition for the Homeless in on there, man, and we're, you know, doing policy related stuff. This particular organization supports vacant survivors. They're out getting us help. They're out putting it out there to people. So, you know, what I envision as that unified community response is happening in spurts and phases. But I think, you know, that little team of folks that have been doing some awesome work out there, you know, and basically across the city, even though the two ANC commissioners are more so based in Ward 8, you know what I'm saying? But they've been responding to stuff all across the city. And
Okay.
we need to find a way to, you know, convene like a collective, you know, from like all of these different orgs that's working together on this. Because a lot of folks, you know, we got people that got expertise. We got
No, but
people that got
Reggie,
lived
Reggie,
experience.
let me jump back out here for a second. Let me say something. This is what I want to interject into the conversation. I titled today's chopping it up session as a strategy, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about that one strategy. When I'm saying strategy is because this is an idea that came to me, right? Or I don't know, and maybe you have a better understanding because we're in a non-profit space, right? And what is it to start up a GoFundMe? They have GoFundMe's for everything else. Could we start up a
Uh-huh.
GoFundMe for our project?
It's possible. You just got to have the person to put in the time and the effort to, you know, monitor the donations. You just need
That's
to
what I'm
put it
saying.
out there on the platforms. You got to have, that person. It's a heavy lift running a GoFundMe, but if somebody has the time and the energy to really put forth to that, yeah, man, we should be. But you
I'm
got to
saying
have
because
your
they could be the
logistics in
ass of the
place.
organization. When we butt his head with the organization, we were like, all right, we might not agree on everything else, but at least you can donate something to my campaign. You understand? And then we can take that
Yeah,
money and put it into occupying some of this space. What's going
yeah,
on?
exactly, exactly. That those are the types of things that need to be done. That just, they're just on handle. I was thinking of, having because I'm also a writer as well. So
No, I didn't know
I
that.
was thinking
What
of
do you
doing,
write?
yeah.
Write short stories?
So so I write no,
Like
I've been writing news articles. I've been writing
like Tommy
poetry.
Hart, the Hardy Boys or
I,
something?
I take videos, pictures. I do illustrations now. I do graphic design and all that. I do a lot of that through one of the nonprofits called Street Sense Media. So I was thinking, and they're sort of an alternative media to like the Post, and they have partnerships with other sort of like alternate papers like City Paper, DC Line. You know, um, we was working with this policy related jump called Law at the Margins, where they have created a whole sort of like new style of journalism based around solutions, and it's called
Mm-hmm.
solutions journalism.
Right.
But I was thinking of having the voice of a community member addressing a lot of sort of the tokenism and the racism involved in what now you've made it stick in my head. Thank you, Mr. Harvey. The nonprofit industrial complex, because that is where a lot of the bigotry and racism and tokenism, especially, I hate to go there, with liberals, exists. People see that. And that's why people don't trust the system. They don't trust the nonprofits. They don't, they don't trust the government because these three things, all of those institutions are invoking on people: bigotry, racism, and tokenism, you know.
Right.
So, and
Hey, tell
they
me
don't
this.
do
Go
them,
ahead. I
yeah.
was gonna ask you this. I was gonna ask you this right here. You know, Caitlin sent us that article about that Philadelphia, how in Philadelphia they had approved that a lot of homes for the homeless that had been advocating and they came to some kind of agreement. Did you read the article?
Mhm. Yeah, I
You
read
read the
that. I
article?
saw that. That
What
basically
you
was
think about
very reminiscent. That article was basically reminiscent of the Moms for Housing. So it all started off when the protests and everything for George Floyd happened. So you had these mass protests staged in areas of power. In DC, they happened to take place on what we call now Black Lives Matter Plaza, which just used to be a section of 16th Street between H and K Street. So there was a spot like that in Philadelphia. And what those organizers ended up noticing is that there were tents, there were literally homeless people, on the way to where they were holding these mass gatherings. So a few of those organizers, a few of those community members got with those homeless people and created what was called the autonomous zone, basically a protest stance against that city's no camping orders. And so, because of the public health emergency, they couldn't be moved, they couldn't be swept out. But then they went and decided to grab themselves some vacant housing. I know there was a lot of, as you pointed out, with the GoFundMe conversation, some strategic organizing, positioning, and fundraising that went into them being able to take over those spaces. And it was very reminiscent of what happened in Oakland, California, with the moms for housing. And so, those particular folks were able to not only take over some vacant spaces and get control of that property, but now they were able to influence policymakers to make a substantial change to the Constitution of Oakland, California, to recognize that housing is a human right. I don't know if that bill passed yet or not, but that was a very tremendous step. And sort of back to what I was saying, right? One of the things that we as community members believe in is housing is a human right. So we in DC have been having that conversation for over 20 years, right? And we're talking about just primarily community members, that it should be a law, it should be somewhere in the city's ordinance in their constitution or something to recognize housing as a human right. A DC based nonprofit that literally has one of our community members on their board literally took that particular basic framework over to California, gave them wording for their own home rule charter before they even did it here in DC. Tokenism, bigotry, racism, nonprofit industrial complex. So if
Reggie, Reggie,
we
let me say something right here. You know what? What's the difference between here and there? There's a difference. And there, he is the Moses, the person that took it there. I ain't never seen him a day before in my life, but it's still something he adopted here in this community and took it there and implemented, lifts him to the level of whatever he's doing. I want to say you making me think about a lot though, man,
Mhm,
because that's very simple. If we're supposed to be the nation's capital, how
mhm,
can the capital have mold and rust? How can the crown have mold and rust on it? How can you say we're the place of liberty and justice and freedom, and turn around and you got 10,000 homeless people in the nation's capital? And see, that's what's really happening.
mhm,
That's why I was trying to tell my homeboy. I'm not mad at Trump for being racist or prejudiced because that's who he is. I like it when somebody acts how they think and who they are. That's okay because I know how to deal with you. I don't like the people that lie to our face and talk about, well, that ain't our department. You go out and they both operating under the same policy. They still pushing people out on
and
the
what
street.
exactly? And what is so frustrating about that is that's where the ideas of quote unquote classism come into play because
Yep.
you know it be people of all colors saying that, and they be in these different positions, and they be having the wherewithal to you know support some of the community led organizing, but we get sort of labeled as anarchists and radicals because we're tired of seeing our people suffer, and we're tired of you know us suffering ourselves. So we should be the ones promoting the solutions. They should be helping us to promote those solutions. Why aren't they? You know what I'm saying? Like, how did Oakland getting into their home rule charter that they want to recognize housing is a human right? And District of Columbia been having that conversation for the same amount of years. Why didn't what is now the National Law Center help us do that? I mean, literally, we have a framework and a campaign, and I'm talking about one of the organizations that I'm a part of, and I serve as its advocacy director, and that's People for Fairness Coalition. If you want to find out more about our Universal Right to Housing campaign, check us out at www.pffcdc.org. But we literally have one of our members who is on their board. So I know he had been talking about that very basic framework, a recognition that housing is a human right, codified in law. They took that idea to California. Why didn't they do it here? Why couldn't we have a proposal? Maybe, you know, could have done it as a ballot initiative where the voters could have decided, do we want to add housing as a human right to the home rule charter? Could have had that. Like, that was very frustrating to know my talking points got took to a whole nother city and implemented. Not just took over there to talk about, implemented in some fashion. And we're not even having that conversation here in the district. So when we're talking about strategy on moving the needle, we have to have within our strategy a way to combat that nonprofit industrial complex. Because if we don't, they will try to co-opt what we're doing and make it their own. And so we need to be very strategic about how we want to approach getting that strategic framework implemented. It's just a no-brainer, you know?
Hey, but
And just
tell me
like
about
you
the
saw,
V2BR website. How do I find V2BR?
www.v2vr.info. And you definitely can learn about our vacant to virus reduction plan, which in essence is a plan to help homeless people social distance and get them into a unit. You know, I'm walking through a neighborhood right now. Could be people living in there. I'm getting ready to pass a Borac company for rent sign. So that means there's units over here. You know what I mean? I'm looking at, new development. Means there's units over here, and people need to be able to access those units. They need to be able to get into a place to
The
live.
main, what they want to know though, Reggie, is see this the main thing about it is nobody they don't believe in sacrifice unless they're sacrificing us. So they ain't trying to give up anything because they're gonna say that's gonna hurt my
Yeah.
bottom line.
I mean, I
Explain to me
mean,
how that's not a direct impact on their bottom
I
line.
mean, hold on. I'm about to show you. Look, you see that? You see what I mean? But you can do all that in your yard, and I'm about to walk up here, and you got all these homeless people up here. Why you ain't helping us, you know, give these people what they need, far as, you know, far as the hygienic services that they need. Why haven't you taken some of these people that you find, acceptable enough, because that's a part of it too. Why haven't you taken any of them folks in? You got to really, really, look at the environment as it is. A lot of people, they love slogans. They love to be with slogans, but then when it's time to put the slogan into action, it's a different story. So, we definitely want everybody's support, and we want people to get involved because this is our community. We should be dictating what is going on in our community. I don't think people realize, and I think the city really should be, especially us, we should be up in arms that, you know, we have dropped to under 50% of the population in the District of Columbia, black people. You know, they say we're 46, 45% of the overall population. But if you look at the numbers that DHS is reporting and the numbers that DCHA is reporting and all these different agencies, it basically tells you black people are the ones homeless in DC to the tune of 86.4%. So majority of the people that are living in these tents, living in these encampments, has been warehoused and sheltered for years. They're black folks, and we should be up in arms about that. I mean, all the way up in arms about that. And they're aging. This ain't like you got a bunch of 6,000 teenagers. You got a good 4,000 people who
Wait a minute, Reggie, I
are
need
the
to
age
jump
of
out here.
40 or over.
Let me jump out here. I just heard something. I can't remember what documentary I was watching. This was just yesterday. But the guy made a very valid point and statement that I have never heard of. He said, I realized, it was in the Muhammad Ali, it was in the Muhammad Ali story. And the guy, he got a lot of documentaries out. And when I was watching, he said, I realized, because he's talking about the Vietnam War, he said, I realized war ain't nothing but young folks fighting for politicians. That's what it is. And if you ain't about that type of politics, then war ain't even on your mind. We worrying about housing right now and things that should be reflective of a successful country, a country that
Hmm.
cares about all its citizens, not some of its citizens. And see, that's the one point they don't want to come to terms with because we're kind of like the gasoline of the whole economy. And that's why I've been telling my homeboy, until we start putting gas in the tank, they can't think. Like, come on now. We gotta stop
Yeah,
participating in a system that is not to our benefit, no matter which side you choose. For the mere fact that we can be
exactly.
educated to this point, to the mere fact that the internet exists right now and you can Google anybody you want to Google, they should understand that a certain level of intelligence is just inherited at this point. And they cannot continue to lie to us and tell us that it ain't my agency fault. Go next door to the next agency, and then they say go back over there, and us not be frustrated and up in arms like you say. So I'm with you 100%, my brother. I'm glad you jumped on. Look, we 36 minutes in, man, and closing, man. Wrap us up in about 3 minutes, man. I want you to give me about a 3 minute spiel of what everybody needs to know.
Yeah. So first off, of course, we've given you the website for the vacant to virus reduction plan. We want your support on that. I can give the website one more time: www.v2vr.info. Check out our organization, well, my organization, People for Fairness Coalition, at www.pffcdc.org. Look out for more information. One thing that I know, two things really concrete that we got going on for the neighbors that you have that are unhoused, help them to register to vote. And also, we have two bills in play that are going to be up for hearing on October 22nd. They are the Fair Tenant Screening Act, which is a bill that gets at amenity fees, holding fees, um, application fees, third party third party credit screening companies. We want you to support that bill. You can go on DC Council's website, dccouncil.us, check out the hearing notice, sign up to testify for that. And also, if you have community members that you know of, please put us in contact with them, especially ones that are homeless, because People for Fairness Coalition and the National uh, Coalition for the Homeless are going to be in that same hearing, but we're going to be discussing a bill to decriminalize homelessness and add homelessness to the DC Human Rights Act of 1977. This bill is called the Michael A. Stoops Anti-Discrimination Act. And we want people to come out, support, write written testimony for both of those bills. If you have community members you know that are affected by these issues, let people know. Let them know about the hearing. Encourage them to sign up to testify. Talk to your ANCs. Talk to your civic associations. Talk to your neighbors, your friends, your boss, your workplace. Tell them you want the Fair Tenant Screening Act and the Michael A. Stoops Anti-Discrimination Act to be passed. And don't forget, help people register and vote.
And don't forget, this is 24/8 radio doing what we supposed to do. That means kicking all day long inside of your dome. You hear me? On the brain.